The nation's COVID-19 watch has turned up more cases of the Omicron variant tonight. They appeared as President Biden unveiled new initiatives on vaccines, masking, and treatment. White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor begins our coverage.
We're going to fight this variant with science and speed, not chaos and confusion.
Today, at the National Institutes of Health, just outside Washington, the president laid out new plans to fight the spread of COVID-19, including the Omicron variant.
Experts say the COVID-19 cases will continue to rise in the weeks ahead in this winter. So we need to be ready.
The plan requires private health insurance companies to cover the cost of at-home COVID tests. It also extends mask requirements on public transit and domestic flights through mid-March. And beginning next week, it says all international flyers entering the U.S. must test negative for COVID 1 day before departure. The administration is also working to supply COVID treatment pills to high-risk Americans once the pills get FDA approval. In addition, the president is calling for new vaccination campaigns, new clinics, and a new emphasis on booster shots for all adults. He is also vowing to get more vaccines to countries in need.
Vaccinating the world is not just a moral tool, a moral obligation that we have, in my view. It's how we protect Americans, as we're seeing with this new variant. America's doing our part, and we'll do more. But this is a global pandemic, and everyone needs to fight it together.
The strategy to push boosters domestically includes expanding appointment availabilities in pharmacies and increasing outreach to seniors. President Biden says it's all part of an effort to avert new shutdowns, especially of schools and businesses. All of this comes as more Omicron cases appeared across the U.S., including in Colorado and Minnesota. And day by day, the new variant keeps spreading globally, with more than 24 countries reporting cases so far. Today, India confirmed its first case of Omicron. In South Africa, the government is pushing for more people to get vaccinated as Omicron rapidly overtakes the once dominant Delta variant there. Gauteng province accounts for 70% of new cases in the country. That has prompted officials to reopen field hospitals.
We are worried about the rapid rise in these numbers, and we want to deal with it as if we are in the fourth wave, whether technically declared or not. That's how we are responding. We are not panicking, but we are deeply concerned about those who are still not coming to the forward to take their jabs.
In South Africa, daily COVID infections have nearly doubled, and health officials there say Omicron appears more likely to reinfect those who already had COVID. But so far, they say, the cases have been mild. At the same time, African officials are raising more concerns over travel restrictions imposed by the U.S. and many other countries. While today President Biden defended U.S. travel restrictions on southern African countries, some experts say the approach is misguided. Professor Salim Abdul Karim is a clinical infectious diseases epidemiologist from South Africa.
What it basically is doing is punishing South Africa and making South Africa take the economic impact. And what makes it more ridiculous is that this variant is now spreading in many countries, including those that have instituted the ban.
Abdul Karim said travel restrictions could prevent more countries from coming forward with information on future variants.
What it's basically saying to the rest of the world, that in future, if you have good surveillance systems and you have in place the mechanisms to identify a new variant and to identify it early, then whatever you do, don't tell the world. Keep it secret.
He expects by the end of the week that the number of new COVID infections in South Africa will reach more than 10,000 a day, pushing hospitals to capacity. For now, though, even as Omicron spreads, it's the Delta variant that's stretching health systems to the breaking point in Europe and parts of the U.S. Today, Germany announced plans to ban anyone unvaccinated from most public spaces as it faces a record high number of COVID deaths. Acting German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
Access to leisure, sports, and cultural activities will be limited Germany-wide to those who are vaccinated or have recovered, irrelevant of the incidence rate.
Meanwhile, public health officials and researchers are racing to determine whether the vaccines that work against the Delta variant will work as well against Omicron. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Yamiche Alcindor.